There is no right time to start dating. Not when you're successful, not when you have a six pack. Now is the right time to start dating. See, I had that mindset for the first 19 years of my life, and it's one of the biggest regrets I have to this day. Not because I didn't really get with girls, but because of what it did to my overall development as a man in so many areas of my life. My life was on standstill for the first 19 years because I didn't want to date. I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't want to do anything with my life. I was just a social hermit who was waiting for a girl to come and show up on my doorstep, which was never going to happen. So if you're in this mindset where you're waiting for the right time, this is actually a really big issue, and I'm gonna break down the 4 big reasons why. The first reason is one that still haunts me to this day. So it is the regret of not taking action. And this is something that played out throughout my entire high school. Up until I was 17, I started to change a little bit, but one time really sticks out in my mind when I was 16, and a girl was pursuing me so hard. She wanted to come to my house after we'd been talking for a little bit. She literally was like, "Can we hang out after school?" And I was like, "Okay." We ended up going up to my room and sitting on my bed at one point, and she wanted me to make a move. Like, looking back, it's clear as day. But I just didn't do anything. I did not kiss her. I never kissed her, never did anything with her. And this relationship fizzled out, as you can imagine. And the regret of not taking action is one of the biggest things that haunts me to this day, because looking back, there's so many girls who actually were attracted to me and I could have done something with if I just had the courage to try to put myself out there, to not be so scared of rejection. There were so many things that held me back, and now looking back on it, I halted my development as a man. And I now, like, the after effects of that was I had terrible social skills. When I really tried to put myself out there at 19, I dug myself this hole that I had to dig myself out of. Instead of just practicing, maybe I wouldn't have had the success I have now, obviously, but I would have at least had some success. I would have been a little more confident. I wouldn't have had terrible anxiety when I had my first relationship at 19. It really has a huge after effect if you're just a social hermit. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not trying. You might just be swiping on dating apps, but not really doing anything with it. This is seriously going to cause you to have a lack of development in a lot of key areas that you need as a man to succeed in this life. And that is one of the biggest regrets that I have, is not starting to put myself out there earlier and take action and try. And this next reason piggybacks off of the last one, which is that when you are not putting yourself out there, you're not socializing, you're not talking to girls, you're not trying, dating is going to build up to be this big scary thing in your mind, as it did for me. See, at 19, I left my hometown in New York and I moved to Florida with my family, knowing absolutely no one there. And I got hit with a reality check that I was not as confident as I thought I was. I was actually really socially awkward and terrified to put myself out there. So I didn't talk to anybody for the first 6 months of going there. And this just made things so much worse. So that when I finally did, I had tons of anxiety. The night that I finally went to a 18+ club, I did meet a girl who I went on to date. And when we were getting to know each other in those early stages, I had anxiety the entire time, to the point where I was barely eating. That is how bad this was, because I was so unfamiliar with dating. It was this foreign concept for me. So when I finally did have a hot girl in my life, it was like this crazy thing, and I was panicked and all excited and nervous, and it was just a mess. But now, every single weekend I talk to girls. I go out, I like to party, and when I'm partying, I talk to a lot of girls. I kiss a lot of girls. Every single weekend I'm kissing a girl, and sometimes I sleep with girls on the weekends too. That is how I do it, and then I try and go on dates during the week, and all I'm doing is, going out, meeting new people, practicing socializing, talking to them, trying to follow up, set up dates. I also use dating apps, but it's in a mix of socializing constantly. It's not the only thing I do. Sometimes I get dates from there. I'm very familiar with girls as a whole. So now for me, seeing girls is just this very enjoyable, fun, kind of like a de-stressing, relaxing thing to do. That is what it is for me. It's not this scary thing like it used to be, but it's because I've made myself familiar with dating. And this is an absolute necessary step. You can't avoid socializing and talking to girls if you want to be good with them. And this next reason is going to offend a lot of you, which is that saying that it's not the right time allows you to validate your insecurities that you have around getting girls. Now, really think about that for a second, what I said there. You're allowing yourself to validate the reasons why it's not the right time. Oh, well, I don't have the six pack yet. I'm not successful enough yet. These are all insecurities that your mind is giving you to tell you that you're not good enough to get girls. That's the big thing that it's saying. Because if you felt that you were good enough to get girls, you would be pursuing them. I would have pursued girls if I felt good enough when I was younger. I didn't have any self-worth. I didn't do anything to develop my self-worth. So for me, it was this big, scary foreign concept where it's like, no, I can't do that. I can't get girls. No way. Oh yeah, now's not the right time. Do you see where I'm going with this? See, it is not that hard to put yourself out there and start having conversations with girls. Start leveling up little by little, trying to get better, trying to improve. Dealing with rejection is absolutely necessary. It's not going to go anywhere. No matter if you're the most successful guy or you're the least successful guy, you're going to have rejections. It's always going to happen. So you avoiding dating as a whole is only hurting yourself. It's only allowing you to validate your insecurities, make them more valid. Like, for example, I am short, right? I'm 5'7". Most guys are taller than me. Most of you watching this are taller than me. And this was a big insecurity that I had for a long time in my life. I was made fun of it. And then at a certain point, I just stopped giving a fuck. And I just started talking to every single girl. And this isn't something that I ever really think about when I'm talking to girls. I never really have an issue with it. It's like I'll talk to girls my height, taller. Obviously, I prefer girls a little bit shorter just because of like the aesthetic look with it, that, you know, a partner who's a little shorter, I like that. But I'll sleep with girls who are the same height, taller. I don't really care. And they don't care too. That's the funny thing, is that these insecurities are all in your head. So you allowing your insecurities to dictate your dating life is holding you back massively, and it's going to set you back further and further, like not socializing was in that last point for me. And this last reason is one that most people really fail to realize, which is that a lot of your ability to attract girls is going to come from the character, like who you are as a person, your confidence, your communication, your courage, all these sub skills that make you an attractive man as a whole. And when you are not putting yourself out there, you're not dating, you're waiting for the right time. You're just avoiding building and developing all these character traits that girls find attractive. See, at 19, when I first started to put myself out there, or let's just say before I put myself out there at that 6-month mark where I went to the 18 plus club, because that day I actually demonstrated courage. I threw up before I went because I was so anxious, but I decided I was ready to make a change and start getting girls. So I threw up and I still went anyway. That's the demonstration of courage, and I was rewarded and I got a girl that night. But before that, I was just waiting for a girl on Tinder to walk into my life, basically. That was my mindset. I was like, oh, let me swipe on Tinder. I'll probably get a girl this way. And the thing is, I was pretty good looking. Like I was looks max, had a good style, or good hair. Not the best style, it was okay. But the pictures were mostly showing off my body. I had a 6-pack. I was doing okay in terms of like most guys would think that I could get girls. But because I was terrible at communication, the few matches that I did get, I didn't know how to take any further. Because I didn't understand girls, I didn't know how they thought, I didn't have any social or emotional intelligence. These things didn't work out for me. I didn't have success on dating apps the way that I do now because of the understanding I have of girls as a whole. And I'm just always socializing, so any matches that I get aren't really a big deal. And if I do get matches that I can't go on dates with, I try and meet them out at like the club or something, work a little bit of magic there. That works like a gem. I'm just a very social person. It's a completely different game as a whole. And I was not developing any of the skills necessary to succeed with girls when I was just sitting at home as a hermit waiting for a girl to walk into my life. I think it's pretty obvious to see that. And you're missing out big time when you're doing this. So avoidance is never the answer. You need to be constantly practicing and developing all the skills that are going to allow you to get girls. And that is the last point. And boys, you've heard about the journey where I was completely unsuccessful, all the reasons now why I wasn't having success, what I would have done different. If you want to get exact steps that I did take to change my life from 19 and moving forward that allowed me to make a complete 360-degree transformation, go from a social weirdo, awkward, shy, introverted to the most confident, charismatic guy in the room, I made a free training. I'm going to link it in the video here somewhere. So it's going to pop up on the screen. You can watch that now. It's going to break down everything I did to make this transformation. It's a free training. I really put a lot of effort into it. I break down the 4 exact steps that I took to make the transformation. So you can go ahead and watch that now.